Before we actually introduce Ashish Jain, let's actually talk about what he does, and it's really cool. So, Lead School is an integrated school operating system. They are across 8,000 plus schools across 400 plus cities. Tens of thousands of teachers are logging in daily, and of course, impacting children. More than 30 lakh children across India. All of this with a relatively small engineering team, and that's at the head of that engineering team is Ashish. Welcome, Ashish, to Utkarsh podcast. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Like, what are the episodes of your story, right? Like that form you.
Thank you, Naman. Thank you. First of all, thank you, and thanks a lot for having me here. And it's a pleasure to talk to you. A bit about me. I think for Lead, I joined Lead 4 years back. At Lead, we broadly build learning products, and we reach around 40 lakh students. And those learning products are used daily by teachers, schools, students while they are at home. By learning products, we build technology solutions and obviously off book solutions as well. So these solutions are generally something which teacher uses. They contain digital resources or lesson plans or multimodal augmented reality models and other kind of stuff. We also provide a lot of one-on-one personalized sessions for students while they are at home, while they are at school, and AI tutors and AI personalized practices. And Lead have been there for around 10 years, and we work from pre-primary till K-12 for children while in their education.
Is this like all in India with all of glorious India's chaos, or also like outside India?
We are primarily in India. We have some footprints in UAE, but yes, we are primarily in India.
Awesome. And so, like, everything from like bad internet to electricity and all, you have to build for all of that.
Yeah. Don't talk about that.
I'm sure that's like super amazing challenges. I know it's like when living the job, it's really tricky, but for us mortals on the outside, feels like a fascinating place to be because those are like really good problems to solve in general.
Yeah. There are a lot of those challenges because a lot of our customers and schools are not T1, they are in T2 and T3 cities. And you
Mhm.
will find not problems like low internet, you will find a problems like that. There is no electricity for 2 hours. They do bring their engineering challenge for example, how you build offline first, or how you can record things in very low latency environment, how you can provide AI in such devices with which do deliver efficacy but do not provide any bad experience. So those challenges are there, but they also come with a good amount of satisfaction when you see technology being used in such kind of setup as those children by those teachers, and you see small impact coming up when these are being used in those
Yeah,
schools.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure. Give us a little bit about like your background. What was your like growth story? Or how did you get into lead?
So I'm a technologist by heart. Always have been doing development, always have been building software. That's what I love, and I'm very passionate about doing things. I have been a pure fintech guy. I think for 15 years I have worked with fintech industry. For an year and or so, I have been working on consumer platform. I have built, I think maybe the first or the second web-based browser in Samsung. That's primarily before Lead. And then after working 15 years in fintech, I thought that maybe I try something else, and that is where Lead happened. And I joined Lead some 4.5 years back. I think one thing which dramatically changed for me when I joined Lead is that I really try to bring two things together. That with technology you can create great things, but with Lead, what I felt is that technology can bring impact. So that was a amazing moment when I joined Lead and start realizing that you can bring impact in society with what you build. Yeah, so I think with AI, the workforce has changed a lot, and what recently I have been trying to build has changed a lot, and I'm sure it is for everyone else as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
just primarily, yeah.
Let's say when you did join lead, give us some facts about like what was the team size, what was the kind of products you were shipping then, what are the kind of roles you have within your organization?
I joined Lead for the student app, which is the consumer-facing platform for students, which they use to do homework while they are at home, to do self-learning practices. And there were lot many pods and lot many teams at that time. For example, there was a student app, there was a teacher app, there was a CMS, there was an academic ERP. I think those products and those modules still exist. They have increased, I think, by folds, but our team size have reduced.
Hmm.
Not we are doing less work. I think we are doing crazy amount of good work and multifold of it. In terms of roles, it's a very classic setup, I think, which you will find in most of the companies. We are a bunch of engineers, DevOps, QAs, IT people. In engineers, we have EMs, data analysts, research scientists, AI scientists. So very classic setup, which you will find in a lot of organizations.
I'm sure. And I've also I think I've heard Smita's podcast on the Ken, where she spoke about how her curriculum building is a big part of Lead. And I'm sure like a bunch of stuff that her research and curriculum team builds ends up going on your shoulders on how to kind of vend that curriculum and make that actual impact happen. How is it working with Smita and her team, especially like the kind of philosophies both Sumit and Smita bring to the edtech realm?
I think with Smita and Sumit, I think we are very very proud of the curriculum that we build. We take a lot of pride in that, and we do focus, and we are very much into that. We will create the right content or the right academic content for the children.
I'm sure.
There would be meetings, for example, you will just be discussing about one page of the book for around for an hour. So that much of
Wow.
kind of discussions and grind go into thinking that is this the right product for the child? But I think one point to highlight and what has changed with AI also is that the line between different departments are thinning. Earlier, there was used to be a very clear segregation of this is the academic team, this is the product team, this is the engineering team. With AI, everyone can do a lot more work. And one classic example is that indeed, I think from past 3 years, we have an internal tool which we call as Likhai, which is a lik.ai is called
Yeah.
Likhai. But we have been using Likhai for generating a lot of content as well. We have been able to generate a lot of practice questions, a lot of teacher lesson plans, look into competitive analysis, do the reviews of academic content. So a lot of curriculum building have been optimized, and a lot of the technology people also understands now what how curriculum is built, and they are cooperating or co-working together to build that content.
Very cool. Very cool. So like there is not just transitioning because of AI, or like evolution of roles because of AI, but also it seems like your teams are co-mingling and co-learning from each
Correct.
other to so that there's a
Exactly.
more cohesion around the
Exactly.
curriculum that's built and vended. That's awesome. That's really you have been at Lead School before ChatGPT happened, and you have now seen the entire evolution of how AI started off, maybe a little more skeptically in the beginning in 2022s and 20s, but then it has more solidified in 2024, 2025, and now in 2026, when AI is kind of pretty much like at the forefront of building products. For you personally, what was the moment when you realized that the way your team works or the way your organization works needs to fundamentally shift? Like, what were some symptoms or experiments that you ran that
Hmm.
convinced you that things need to change?
I'll tell you a personal thing. So, uh, and when I joined Lead, I joined, I think, as an associate director of engineering. And rest of my time going to people management and this and that and then and those kind of a stuff. So when I was at Lead, I had a very big team which I was managing. I was not coding much
Mm. Yeah.
because I was hired as a director and I was doing some other stuff and I was not getting much into code. When ChatGPT happened, my manager one day said, "Do you know this thing can?" I said, "How can it code?" So me and my manager said that let's make some support application, and in 2.5 days we make an entire support application and hosted it in the production. That
Wow.
is the first time we realized that this is amazing, and that is where I felt so liberated. Now I can code.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a very dichotomy of freedom and like fear, because for a lot of people, it's like fear that, hey, what will happen to my skills? Whereas for others, it's like freedom that, oh, I can do so much more. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is mindset driven as well. Like how from there on to now, right? Our products built and maintained at Lead School today.
To be very honest, Naman, it's a very evolutionary phase. I would be honest that it is too early to say that this is my way of working with AI. And it might not be fruitful to define those way of working in stone because AI itself is changing so fast. And whatever you define as a way of working might become old in like another week or so. But to talk about the process that we have today, I think we are a Claude workshop. Almost every developer have access to Claude and good amount of our development research analysis is powered by Claude. I think we have been able to define a lot of our skills in terms of how the development should happen, how the PR should happen, how the code comment should be there, what is the structure, what is the design. So we have been able to create some skills out of it. I think this is the primarily change in way of working and in terms of process that we have been able to set up with AI. Apart from this, we have been using AI for, I think, research or for fine-tuning models or getting into a research loop. For example, there have been experiments that we recently did around where we were trying to make a good teacher by fine-tuning a small language model. So those experiment areas are also going on, but to be honest, it's more chaos than a process. I think one thing which has changed a lot is that earlier you used to take a lot of time developing. For example, if I am trying to build a piece of a software, I would think about it, then I would write some code. I will write some code tomorrow, then I will test it, then I will discuss with some manager or some of my peer. Maybe we'll co-discuss, and after a week, I will have a module out. Now you get that module out in, let's say, 4 hours or 5 hours. So your development have shifted dramatically. I think the way, I think what has not shifted dramatically is your thinking, your release to market, your business. That has not changed that dramatically. For example, when Claude released almost two or three things in a week, I'm pretty sure no one has a track of it or no one has a first-hand experience of using all those features that Claude is releasing. So I think my view is that the development has become easier, but the business and the processes and the way of working are struggling to cope up with that faster way of development. They have
That's
not
true.
find their sweet spot right now.
Interesting. How have like roles evolved? Brad? Like you talked about building in from the development sense of
Hmm.
point. You mentioned like your organization has like centralized skills now for Claude to kind of pick up. I'm assuming you use a lot of Claude code. So that's from the development side. But what about like product and like as you mentioned, R&D is going through a bunch of changes as well. How have you and lead school kind of looking at the evolution over there?
So if I put categorically that where are we using AI in lead? So I think there are a few areas. One is AI for development, which we talked about. Then there is AI for analysis or AI for data analysis. Then there is AI for operational efficiencies. And then there is AI for research. And then there is AI for content generation. I think these are the five places broadly where we are trying to use AI in lead. For AI for data analysis, I think what we have done, and it's very interesting, is that we have been able to link everything to Claude with the help of MCPs or skills or agents. And but what Claude can do now is you can just go to a Claude interface and say, "Ki, hey, my user is saying this, what is the issue?"
Yeah.
And Claude can go into code, Claude can go into log files, Claude can get into crash lytics, Claude can get information from some other place, and then it will present a very beautiful dashboard to you that I think this is what is happening. So I think analysis also has dramatically shifted, not only for developers or the people who understand code. I think in the company there are a lot of people like finance or people who look into sales. They are working on AI for operations where they are trying to use external tools. I think one classic example which every other organization is trying right now is Salesbot or customer
Oh,
support bot. So those things are also in experiments right now at Lead. We're trying to bring efficiency with them. One personal reflection I have, Naman, is that if there are two people who are working right now and both have access to, let's say, all these tools and whatever there is in the market, I think one thing which differentiates those two people now is their ability to think, their ability to code, their ability to research, their ability to write the piece which computer understands is not the distinguishing factor now. If I can think a better product than you, or you can think a better product than me, is what is going to differentiate us.
yes. The implementation cycle is no longer the differentiator. The ideation and the originality and what people call taste. Right? Like how have you developed taste in your domain? And
Hmm.
expertise in your domain has ended up like creating differentiation between different products. It's how have your say product people been growing themselves? Like now that they also know that they can get more implementation done quickly. What is like some what are some areas of growth have they experienced that were not possible before?
I think three. One is the product itself, second is design, third is development. So I
Nice.
think in the product itself, the research has become very fast.
Mm,
Earlier, if you have to figure out that what is going to be my GTM strategy or what is going to be the TAM of this particular product or what is the market size, who have bought this product in the past, would have taken a lot many long cycles, them following with data analysis, them doing a lot of research on Google's and other kind of a stuff. That cycle has reduced a lot. So their ability to think of the product, what is the right product to build and what my customer want, and the research around it have become simpler. The other thing is design. They now can themselves get their hand into design with Google Stitch or Claude for design. That has dramatically shifted. So the third and the very disturbing or exciting, whatever you may call, is they can code. So
That's
now they
true.
do not have to talk to developers that often to say that hey, I want to get this prototype done. Please figure out some time and build this prototype. They can just take their requirement, go to Google AI Studio, and they can build prototypes. And they have been doing so. And they are so fascinating because the developers are always generally come from a very constrained mindset. Oh my God, how will I make this voice to voice? How will I log it? How will I debug it? Product does not think like that. So product is going to be, I know voice to voice is amazing. I'm going to make a prototype which just works with voice. And they in
Very good.
a big forum with come with a prototype which just works with voice. Yeah.
Wow. Is this like, is there a story there? Like, can you tell us a couple of examples of that happening?
Yeah, the story was going in back of my head. So I think what we have been experimenting is that how can I make the teacher's life easy while she's doing the marks entry? And you would not believe in different state and different boards, there are places where teacher have to do those marks entry 4 or 5 times. So it's a very boring task. It is not something where teacher is going to add a lot of value. So we have been experimenting how we make things easier. So one of the product I built a prototype. So it was a very interesting prototype. So we give tablets to teacher. Teacher can with that prototype, teacher can just make the tablet stand with some standee or put it in on some cover, and then she clicks start. The moment she clicks start, the paper loads. The teacher just talk now. The teacher say, "I am entering marks for Raghu." The Raghu comes in. And once the Raghu
Wow.
comes in, while checking, she will say question one, 2 marks, question two, 3 marks, question three, 4 marks. What has he written over here? He never
Very
will.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. So the AI is capturing all of these things, doing the real time annotation, and then yeah,
Very cool. Very cool. I think it also engages the teachers a lot better, like because
yeah,
now the time is reduced, but in that small amount of time, they can really see their work happen quickly, and I think that's a great experience for the teacher also. Awesome. Hey, so like, let me all of this like evolution, as you said, in terms of what people's capabilities are changing, right? Like product people are shipping features when developers are doing even more complicated work and really quickly now. Like I've kind of moved into the hiring segment a little bit, but I want to start that by this very raging debate that's going on is about junior developers and senior developers, right? Like there
mm,
was famously a few months ago, there was a study that revealed that the number of hires in junior developers is going down. People need more senior developers because senior developers are able to do far more and don't need junior developers anymore. So let me ask you the same question, right? Like, how is the junior versus senior debate playing out in your organization? Also, like, what is your personal philosophy on that? Is that a good thing, bad thing? How do you look at it?
I think it's a very fair question and a question which is there in the market and a very difficult question, Naman. I hope you wouldn't have asked it.
100%. Like that is so. It's one of the most, and to me, it's like personally, right? Like it's a very fascinating thing because it kind of reveals how an organization is thinking or how their culture is set up, right? Like
Mm,
so there's not a right answer, obviously. I think every
mm,
organization, different things work for them, but we'll love to
mm.
understand how they work for you.
I'll share you my view and how we have been trying to shape things up. So I think my view is that if you have a good senior developer who have a very good understanding of how AI works and how he or she can develop using AI, then it is as equivalent for him to work with other junior developers as he had been doing before. But now Claude is that junior developer, or maybe Cursor is that junior developer. And then a lot of aspects around human, for example, I'm not available today, or I might do it tomorrow, or I was not in the mood, so I wrote it like that. Those things are
Yeah.
diminishing. The the machine at the end of the day is more predictable, and you can define more and more guardrails around them. I think for junior developers or the people who are getting into the market now, I think the uphill task for them, and I think there is no bad or good thing about it, is that they have to learn a lot. It's not bad in my opinion because who does not have to learn a lot now? The CTO, the
That's
VP,
true.
the director, the AD, the team lead, or the engineering manager, they all have to learn a lot. They all are on slate zero. The only thing which senior people carry is the experience of failing. But in terms of what they can build, they are almost at the similar ground. So this is a very good point to be at for junior developers also, that because they can learn fast.
Yes.
which might not be the case with the senior developers. What obviously they cannot build on day one is the experience of when things will fail. That cannot be built. You will learn by failing.
One of the hypotheses for this podcast is effectively that as the value of human labor is changing because AI does a lot of our work for us, what do we value human labor for? If we accept that the value of human labor has changed, then how do we identify and evaluate good talent, right? Like this comes to the hiring processes now. So, if I were to, for example, apply at Lead School today for a builder role, maybe it's a developer, maybe it's a DevOps, or maybe it's a product. What would be the hiring process today? And like what do I go through? What does it look like today?
I think you very rightly highlighted that our view of what humans can do is changing, and we do believe them to be more capable in different aspects and being able to do more work. I think in lead, when we are trying to hire people, I think one thing which has changed, and I would be very honest, it has been a very not an active thinking process, but it has happened behind the scenes that we are trying to look at people that can you build this entire thing end to end? Can you think of the design? Can you think of the product? Can you build the tech around it? Can you think about the failure points and build that entire thing? And from a very junior role itself, not senior roles. So that has changed. I think in terms of layers, those things have not changed. For example, you'll go from round one to round two or round three. That remains same. Round one is broadly about can you build stuff. Round two is how much experience you are building such stuff. Round three is do you fit this company or do we fit you? That is what the broadly three rounds are. But I think the questions and what have been asked has changed. Earlier, I used to ask that what is the algorithm? How would you scale this method? Or how will you write this REST API? I think my round has just shifted to a point that I will open a discussion. I will say that what have you built and general introduction, and I will give a problem. For example, one of the problem as simple as could be, can I make a better weather app?
Mm.
It's very lame problem, but it's a very simple problem, and let that person think why I should make a weather app. There are so many weather apps. If I build, what I will build. And once those discussions have passed over, I'll give around an hour. Okay, let's build it, and I will
Yes.
just see the screen and he can use anything, whatever he wants, whether it is Cursor, Claude, Figma, Stitch, anything that he requires. But I will just first walk through that entire building process of how he use AI. And that is broadly I'm trying to gauge that can you think product, can you think business, how well he use AI and how does he use AI to deliver outcomes. These are the only four things I'm trying to look when I'm trying to hire a person.
Makes sense. Makes sense. How has your personal rubric shifted when you are, like, when you're thinking about evaluating engineers now versus an AI powered engineer, right? Like, what do you believe now matters more, that you could, that if today, for example, if you had to go and shift or make a change in your screening processes, what would you, what would you change more effectively now?
Yeah, I think one, he should be able to think about product. You should be able to think about business because those are the things that are looked on for with engineers as well now. And similarly, you look on for those things in product people as well now. For example, it is
That's true.
just taken for granted that you can build a prototype, go to customer. Don't come to engineer for that. And similar things are expected in the engineer as well, that you might not require the entire spec out structure to build a small module from product. You should be able to understand the customer, have that domain knowledge with you, and you should be able to churn out the product and
That's
take
true.
the problem and write the code for it. Second key element that will change is that how well versed you are with AI. And there is no very clear definition about it because AI itself is changing so fast. Just to see some patterns that how have been you used AI, what have been your experience working with AI is what are the areas you know that AI will not work for sure. For example, if you are doing deep tech work, let's say a new project came for voice to voice or some wave to wake model came, which just recently came. AI might not be able to write code for it. You will have to go deep into and figure out how to write code for it. But how you use AI for such projects? Or
Mm.
if there is a very legacy code written in Fortran or C and you have to debug something into it, now how you go use AI for it? So yes, you have to think, you have to build, you have to debug. But in all such use cases, do you have your mental model built where AI work, where AI does not work? Have you have some past experience around it? I think those things are being looked upon. But again, no structure around it, but these are the things that you try to
Makes
look
sense.
into people. Yeah.
Makes sense. Like, I think domain expertise, your ability to think through the entire process, plus your ability to kind of use AI effectively. We're going to do this for our product as well. So we are an assessment platform. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to make it publicly known that when you give an assessment at Utkrush, here is what we will look for. And that actually has two or three dimensions of the exact same thing that you mentioned. Like we look for is like skill, obviously, like if you are being checked for a certain role, then what are the skills in that role? But also the second part is like, how is your use of AI, right? Like, do you use AI as a crutch, or do you, where you copy paste the entire thing and say, solve this? That's using AI as a crutch. Or do you use AI as a tool where, you use it to brainstorm, to find edge cases, to kind of steer the conversation, right? Or correct the AI output in case it brings something wrong. And then the third dimension is like problem solving, right? Given like a large problem, do you like break it down into smaller problems, or do you verify your solutions? It's interesting to see that it's kind of converging on that line. Thank you for that insight. If you have any learnings from like, say, a bad hire that may have kind of come across, and then what would you change or learn from that?
I think once or twice. So we hired the person for the accolades he hold and from the company he was coming from, and we ignored our judgment of whether we are able to assess or not, but it turned out to be a bad hire.
I see. I see. So like getting overwhelmed with somebody's accolades does not always bring the right results. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think the process that we have set up now is that look into three things: that can he work cross-sole, how well he use AI in different structures, and third is the person himself. I think these are the three big traits we generally look for. And yes, would be great to have a structure around it. It is all pretty human judgment driven and
Very cool. Thank you so much. Any like, tips for young folks out there, or even like experienced leaders who might be listening? What are like some of your top learnings or frameworks and philosophies that you've developed because of this AI renaissance, right? Something that you would like to share.
hmm. I think I have two. One is that you have to learn a lot, you have to build a lot, and you have to feel a lot. This is very important in these days. Things like solopreneur is possible now. You've been able to do product design, market. These things are possible. People have created skills just for marketing. People have created skills for being a CEO. For example, there are very famous skills around where you can
Yeah.
just hire a CEO for your company. How
Yeah.
nothing bad around the human seers. I think they are amazing. They are excellent people. But I think for anyone young, anyone experienced, it is very important for you to experiment. Mark your time over weekends or after your daily hours and do experiment and learn and fail. And try to build stuff which people can use. I think that is important. The other thing which is important is talking to people. When you talk about your failures, you just discuss what you are doing, how you have been thinking about this particular tool, what you did last weekend. So I think these two things are really very important for me, that you figure out a silo time for you, you build, you learn, experiment, and fail. You are constantly building. Second is you are talking to people. So if you are able to
Nice.
connect those two loops, I think you will be excited about what is going on and you will enjoy being in this wave.
Very nice. I really love the second part. It's been my personal learning as well. I was an engineer, very similar to you. I kind of lived only, in the realms of engineering for a very long time. Even after I joined like a very hardcore electric vehicle automotive startup, started working with customer support and and mechanical engineering people, and you realize that the world is a lot more than just software and bits and bytes. And now that I'm actually like a founder and I have to like talk to customers and figure out sales and do all of these things, I think it leads to a lot more enriched view of how the world works and how impact works. Thank you so much, Ashish. This has been really awesome. I'm sure a lot of people who are listening will hopefully now take the impetus to go and experiment more, fail more.
I had a great time, Naman. It was a very good discussion and a lot of points for me to also think about later on. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.